My name is Owen Moore, and I'm a reporter from Cinemagic
Great.
in Belfast. My first question would be, what current filmmakers do you admire?
Wow, actually, you know what's so funny, Owen, is that no one has actually asked me that question. I've done thousands and thousands of interviews, and you've asked me something that's important to me, the
Yeah.
current filmmakers. So, for me, these are guys that I grew up with together. We've made films together, so I'm such a fan. But for me, Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite filmmakers. He's just a singular voice. He and I made our first film together, so I feel a little like connection to him. We went to the first film festival
Toronto
together.
Film Festival.
Yeah, look at you. Yeah, well done. So Quentin and David Fincher. I'm a big admirer. He's slightly older, but he's definitely one that I love. And Darren Aronofsky is another one.
Ooh, he's good. My second question would be, what's your opinion on the found footage genre?
You know, it's a genre, found footage, that is a very strong flavor, right? It comes with it's like Tabasco sauce or chili that you put on a dish.
Yeah.
It's automatically a giant flavor, and sometimes it's used incredibly effectively to tell a story that can orient you with a point of view. A lot of times it's overused or not used properly, and it becomes irritating, like a dish with too much spice in it, right? It's just too much for you. So it's something that has to have a lot of discipline. Now, The Visit for me is more of a documentary, which I consider just slightly different than a found footage movie. Found footage is haphazard and things like that, whereas a documentary has an intent behind it. Like, I'm intending this to be beautiful. I can, like, if we were in the documentary, I could make you look beautiful, I could frame it properly, whereas if found footage is just kind of crazy.
My third question would be, after the success of Wayward Pines, would you ever consider adapting one of your movies into a TV series or a miniseries?
You know, that's a great question. Oh, these are great questions you're asking. I've been asked a few times to make shows off of my movies. They're so intimate, these characters, that they're close to me, and I can never say never, but it's hard for me to start thinking of it as a slightly different version, or to give these characters to somebody else, to say, hey, just come up with 20 different stories and make a season of television. That's been harder for me. I really enjoyed Wayward Pines. That was my dream version, where someone came to me with a book, came to me with a story, and said, do you think there's a longer form story here that we can tell on TV? That would be my perfect version of it.
My fourth question would be, The Visit feels like a very stripped down, kind of back to roots film.
Yes.
Did you consciously make it more of a smaller film?
Yeah, you have to match the script with the way you're making it. And for me, the more minimalist I can be on any movie is the best way to make a movie for me. I've made special effects movies and all, but for me, where I get enjoyment is not from bigger and bigger kind of thing. It's actually lesser and less. That's where I get enjoyment. What's the least I can show you? What's the least I can say for you, say to you during a story that lets you understand? I want you leaning in, wanting to know more. And so The Visit for me is this kind of smaller thriller that I would love to make more of.
Do you ever feel pressure to come up with one of your signature twists?
I don't. I get asked a bunch about this, and I know people like it. Some of my movies have very unusual things that happen, and some don't. I just try to concentrate on the characters, let the plot come from the characters, and that's an organic way to be. If I start to say, wow, on this date I'm gonna have to do this, otherwise it won't be a fun date, that starts to become,
Yeah. How did you scrape together the funds for Praying with Anger?
Oh, wow. That was another great question. You know what? It was a lot of borrowing, having people, friends and relatives saying, hey, will you put in $10,000? Will you help with this? Can you get me this for free? Can I borrow this camera? It was like one of those things that you just scrape together and make. It was like really the first time I made a feature film. I was 21 years old, and it was it was definitely all new for me and very, very scary. And luckily, we ended up barely making the money back that movie cost by selling it to cable and all of those things. It was a small little movie.
Thanks very much for the interview.
Oh, well, thank you. It was great to meet you. You're going to become a big interviewer one day. I'll see you all around.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.